Bagaetsho dumelang. I think all of us as South Africans have been treated quite extensively by the revelations that General Mkhwanazi raises. The old dictum that says innocent until proven guilty. I want to, in this instance, make it clear that we believe General Mkhwanazi until he's been proven to be dishonest. And that requires a process of thorough investigation. What General Mkhwanazi is stating is the feeling that we all have. That the fact of the matter is that your probability of finding a conviction after having convicted a murder is 1 in 5. For rape, that number becomes even less. This is something that is deeply worrying. General Mkhwanazi confirms for all of us what we've all felt, that state capture has not quite stopped. That it is something that is continuing, and we all feel it in our day-to-day lived experiences. General Mkhwanazi tells us that we are fast shifting away from the rule of law to the rule of man. The idea that political decisions trump, in fact, what should happen in terms of the rule of law. Honorable members, it is time for us to be deliberate and act now. We will soon be asked to declare the state capture report as wasteful and fruitless expenditure, until we soon see prosecutions that must take place. So, Honorable Minister, I have a number of points I want to raise with you. In February, your ministry committed to making the National Register of Sex Offenders public. We have to see progress in this. Because in truth, for our teachers, only 7% of the nearly 500,000 educators have been screened against this. I take my kids to school. I'm sure honorable members do the same. We can't put them at such risk. For police, as of now, only 245 SAPS personnel have faced scrutiny in this regard. This is a significant risk in a country that is facing such a chronic issue of violence. Honorable Minister, you promised the whistleblowers protection and legislative reform. I'm sure we can come here today and we've got to make a commitment to expedite that issue. Because more people take their lives to risk to tell us what is going on. They need protection, and they need protection from you. So I welcome the decision by Parliament to put together an investigation. The last point I want to make, Minister, is that as the end of the term of the current National Director of Public Prosecutions, let us codify into law the appointment of the next, begin now, and make sure we get a candidate who will replace Advocate Batoy. Justice cannot be allowed to be subjected to the rule of men. So let's make sure we act now, fund properly, and deliver a justice system that works for all citizens.
Thank you, Honourable Member.
Thank you very much, Honourable House Chair. Greetings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Nqenke ahuniki. The Justice and Constitutional Development Vote 25 allocation increases by 3% when compared to the 2024-2025. With such a high unemployment rate, we find it disappointing that the National Prosecuting Authority has 1,098 vacant posts as at 31st January 2025. Nee, Vader, skrik toch alles het wakker, mense soek span nie beter. The Department's Strategic Plan 2025 to 2030 includes 9 outcome statements. I want to zoom into 3. Outcome 7, fighting crime and corruption through prosecution. We support the budget, hoping that outcome 7 will be achieved when we think of the selfless life of Detective Clint Skippers from Makassar, Cape Town, who, like a real-life hero, risked his life in a shootout with 12 cash-in-transit criminals. One died, and because of him, the rest was arrested, but he walked away with 5 bullets in his back. He didn't just take a bullet for his country, he took 5 and still walks around with 2 in his back. And now, how does the justice system thank him? Instead of a promotion or a medal or even a payout, no. He rather has to pray for a way out. After he protected his family against the house-breaking attempt, a case of self-defense was changed to murder after a year. In this justice system of ours, such a hero gets arrested, thrown in jail with hardened criminals he gave 16 years of his life to arresting. We support this budget so that outcome 7 must be achieved to deal with the corruption in the system against many like Detective Clint Skippers. If not, then we cannot help but wonder, is this justice? The Justice Department received an allocation of 25.4 billion, including direct charge for magistrate salaries of 2.6 billion. We are making sure magistrates' salaries are secured, yet magistrates like Judge Morolong in Kimberley today gave an illegal immigrant who murdered 3 South African young people, Opile Jonas, Michaela Boysen, and Calvino Matthews, a mere 5 years, running concurrently with 2 years suspended. Hurreal, we must ask, is this justice? Outcome 8, apartheid-era justice-related legislation reviewed and replaced, and as it relates to constitutional development, the apartheid racial classification of Khoi, San, colored, Indian, and one segment of white South Africans being legislatively considered black in general, but not African in particular, must be reviewed and totally erased. Otherwise, we must ask again, is this justice or just ice in a glass of expensive whiskey enjoyed by the deep state when they say cheers to a corrupt system they alone benefit from? PA supports. Munib Baizani, Minister. Salute.
Thank you. Julas Tulu, Malukwa Parlamenti, Bahlabani le batho ka moka ba Afrika Borwa, EFF gana vote 25 ya lefapha la toka le tlhabolo ya molaotheo. Tekanyetso e ga se ya toka ke ya go šireletša bao ba amanago le dipolotiki e laola tshenyo ya toka gomme e dira go hloka toka go bonagale o ka re ke setlwaedi. The 25.3 billion allocation is not a blueprint for justice. It's a firewall against accountability. It deliberately fails to empower prosecutors, protect whistleblowers, support anti-corruption work, or defend victims of political violence. Chairperson, this failure is not accidental but structured. The Office of the Public Protector remains underfunded at 376 million. There's no growth, no plan to expand regional capacity, no digitized investigations, and no support for whistleblowers, despite their ongoing assassination while government hosts workshops and delivers speeches. The National Prosecuting Authority, meant to be the cornerstone of justice, remain a sub-program under this vote. It is politically and financially tied in the same executive it must prosecute. 106 million was stripped from the investigating directorate, while cases like the Palapala, the National Lottery scandal, and the Gupta extraditions remain frozen. Just over a month ago, the National Director of Public Prosecution, Shamila Badoy, admitted on national television that the NPA is infiltrated. Instead of facing this reality, the minister rushed to defend her, saying she used the wrong word. That is not leadership, it's a coordinated cover-up. The truth is the NPA will never prosecute powerful politicians while it is funded and controlled by them. This budget keeps the NPA on a financial leash and corruption off the hook. In this same climate of protection, we must locate today's revelation. Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi confirmed that the Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu, solicited funding from a businessman with 3 billion in SAPS contract. Mchunu denied knowing the man, but evidence proves otherwise. Mchunu also disbanded the political killings task team in KZN and froze posts in crime intelligence. These are not blinders, they are tactics to collapse accountability. Yes, Mkhwanazi is not under this vote, but the Department of Justice is the gatekeeper to prosecution, and this budget gives it no tool to act. There's no funding for high-risk corruption cases, no whistleblower protection, no independence for the NPA. Chairperson, justice dies like this, not because of firing of bullets, but through budget that stuff the truth. The SIU is expected to fight elite corruption with a real increase of just 0.7%. The SIU tribunal is still temporary. There is no amendment to allow SIU to litigate independently, no civil recovery strategy. It is a paper tiger intentionally caged. Chairperson, state capture continues quietly. The public investment cooperation remains a looting ground for the elite. In 2011, Dubai World and London Regional sold the V&A waterfront to the PIC. To this day, South African beneficiaries have received nothing. The matter is in court, but the judiciary delays with the corrupt enjoys the returns. This department has made no effort to budget for forensic litigation unit, no anti-fraud recovery team, no specialized legal office to fight back. There's always money to protect corruption, but nothing to prosecute it. The South African Human Rights Commission is on life support. Its budget has dropped by over 20% in real terms since 2023. Key programs like human rights defenders OPCAT, environmental litigations are erased. Rural outreach is dead, and this budget says nothing about the rebuilding. The information regulator is becoming a Schedule 3A entity, but without rural rollout, mobile reporting, or cybersecurity, the working class remains excluded by design. Women return to maintenance court 5 or 6 times to enforce one order. There's no funding for tracing officers, no investigators, no digitized system. Even as GBV is declared a national crisis, there's still no dedicated funding to fast-track gender-based violence cases, no trauma support in every court, and no rural-based GBV prosecutors to ensure survivors get the justice they deserve. Chairperson, as I close, the legal aid South Africa is stretched beyond breaking point. Rural offices are forgotten. Extradition fail. Economic fugitives enjoy VIP passport. There's no cross-border prosecution strategy with no multilingual legal teams and no international coordination. Why? Because this department refuses to fund one. This budget is not neutral, it's complicit. The EFF demand the following: a standalone vote for the NPA by 2026 with full budget and legislative independence, urgent tabling of the whistleblower protection bill with funded legal aid and trauma support, amendment of the SIU Act, permanent tribunal appointments, and independent litigation funding, a forensic litigation unit to investigate corruption linked to PIC, a national maintenance plan with court-based investigators and digital system. Go fihlela lefapha le fa ditšhelete go šireletša nnete, boikemelo le go swara maatla, palamente e swanetše go gana tekanyetšo ye. EFF ka mehla e tla lwantšha toka e šireletšago barui, gomme e otla bahlaki. Ke nako ya go fediša mararankodi mo nageng ya borena, fase la borena le na le mararankodi. Until Shamila Batoyi leaves, we will never rest as the EFF. Thank you so much.
Hey, and Katal no Gwazana, ne? MK. Hey. Nakensam Tramashtul. Honorable members, fellow South Africans, there is that famous saying that says that justice delayed is justice denied. And today, too many South Africans are denied justice because the wheels of justice are grinding far too slowly. This department is meant to be the center of justice for victims of violent crime, for communities plagued by corruption, and for the many ordinary South Africans seeking fairness and accountability. But what we see is a system that is buckling under pressure and at times paralyzed. Take the Senzo Meyiwe trial, a national tragedy that has dragged on for years with no end in sight. Televised court proceedings might inform the public, but when they contribute to procedural delays, we must reassess their value. Justice is not a performance, it is a right. We do acknowledge, as Rise Mzansi, we acknowledge that the budget is inadequate for the volume of cases enrolled. But we also believe that the department can do much better. Too many prosecutors in lower courts are overwhelmed, under-resourced, and some, and we need to be honest, they are corrupt. They accept bribes to oppose or not to oppose bail. The result? People who should be behind bars are out on the streets, and those who should be free remain behind bars. Some because they can't afford bail as low as 500 rands. This cannot be justice, and this cannot be acceptable. Honorable members, this budget must prioritize the efficiency and integrity of the justice system. That starts with a well-trained, well-supported, and honest prosecutors. Those who are unwilling to serve with integrity should be shown the door. And last week, Honorable Groenewald, Minister, wanted to open the door that was closed, and he wanted us to discuss corporal punishment. And as Rise Mzansi, we reject the return of corporal punishment. It is regressive and unconstitutional. Instead, let us promote community services and alternative centers to petty crimes. This will include cleaning public spaces, maintaining schools and cemeteries. We need to free up space in our overcrowded prisons and restore dignity to our justice system. And finally, Chairperson, we must move with urgency to protect whistleblowers. As long as billions are looted and whistleblowers are left exposed and in fear, the road will continue. Justice must not only be done,
Thank you,
it must be
Honourable
seen
Member.
to be
Your
done.
time has expired.
Nakhenza mthamashitulo.
Thank you very much.